The way to win is to take potent action. This is just going to be an uncut video where I'm going over my thoughts as of recent of what takes someone from being completely in the beginning of the journey to being successful as an entrepreneur. Now, as you can tell, the lighting is changing here. I'm using my natural light, so I might have to click on the screen every once in a while. But what I've noticed within the space of entrepreneurship, within online coaching, within digital products, within that whole space, is that there's a big distinction from people that get great results very, very fast, and from those that kind of slug on and never really get to see their true potential. And what I call it is taking potent action. Some people say they're taking action, they're putting in the action every single day, but they're not seeing the results. And I think the difference is not necessarily that they're not taking enough action, it's the potent action. Now, in my mind, and my own definition of this new word that I came up with, is potent action is taking action by getting rid of all the distractions in your life. For example, someone could be fresh out of high school and they've got all these things in their life. They've got, parents nagging them. They've got, friends that they're still in contact that have bad habits. You've got your girlfriend, you've got schoolwork, you've got all these things, and they're trying to take action, but there's so much resistance. And then there's someone else that's kind of in the same situation, but they cut off the friends, they tell their girlfriend what they're doing, and if she doesn't align with that, they cut them off too, and they just take so much action by removing all the distractions, right? And in my mind, that's just a 10x return on investment. That's potent action. That's action without all the distractions, allowing you to make smarter moves and ultimately win way faster. Because as humans, sadly, we get demotivated quite fast. If we don't see results quickly, especially in today's age where we've been given this false narrative that everything is meant to happen quickly, we lose hope quite fast. I've noticed it within myself, within my business partner, Sebastian, and it's because we don't understand the rules of potent action, of understanding that we have to cut all of our ties and put action in, and then you'll be able to see those fast results. It's not something where you put in a little bit of action here and there, and then you expect to see all these results. On top of that, you need to play the long-term game. Okay, I'll put in a quote by Naval Ravikant here because I recently listened to the whole 3-hour podcast of him and Chris Williamson, and it's, you need to play long-term games with long-term people. And what that means is when you're going into this, when you're trying to make yourself something, when you're trying to reach success, you need to realize that this is just a long-term game. It doesn't matter how hard you work if you don't understand that this is a decade-long game, even longer. This is not necessarily winning big, but it's just winning enough so you can keep playing. And a lot of people don't understand that. It's not necessarily, oh, I want to reach these goals, and if I don't make it in this time period, I lost. It's, do I have the resources to keep playing the game? That's all I want to do. I just want to keep playing the game because I love this so much. Because I can be observatory and realize that within all the podcasts, within all the books that I've learned, is that the journey really is the joy. And as corny and as cliche as that sounds, when you realize that and you realize there's always going to be a next mountain to climb, you realize that you just want to keep playing the game. You're going to have to choose your pain in your life. So you might as well choose the thing that is giving you joy and fulfillment along the way. And for me, that's building products, working with amazing people, and being the best entrepreneur I can be. Another thing is, a lot of people think that, following these very disciplined, very high impact, very, non-stop grind set type of mentality is the way to win. But it really isn't, especially in the world that we live in where AI and all of these tools can help us take off, can build so much leverage. It's really not about how much time you put in, it's about the quality of your attention. If you are hustling every single day and not putting quality attention into the things that need to be nurtured, you're not going to win as an entrepreneur as well. Okay? I might be going a bit off track on this video, but I hope it's giving you value. Another thing is, let me just take this comparison with weight loss, right? Let's say you're on your weight loss journey. When it comes down to staying motivated, you need to get results quite quickly, right? If you're taking a little bit of action, chipping on that goal of losing weight, you're going to get demotivated and you're going to go back to your old habits. So going back to potent action, if you want to win as an entrepreneur and really break through in order for you to create a new path for yourself, you're going to have to cut your ties. You're going to have to reinvest in yourself. You're going to have to understand that it's going to be lonely. There's going to be all of these side effects. But when you take that potent action, you'll break through. If you take, a little bit of action, you're just not going to be able to keep up with that motivation for such a long time. For example, let's say, Siba. He's a multiple world champion when it comes to the classic physique and bodybuilding. He cut all of his ties and he worked on that goal day in, day out for years. And only recently is he being recognized. I mean, he's been recognized quite a while now, but only recently is he being recognized for all of those achievements because he realized he needs to play the long-term game. And it was just, he put in that quality attention every single day into that goal and cut off all of his ties. Okay? So what is potent action? Let me get into that a bit more in depth, right? I mentioned it a little bit about, you have to put quality into your effort, into your work, right? But there's certain actions with asymmetric payoffs, right? You can put 1 hour in something and get 1 point out of it, or you can put 1 hour into something and get 100 points out of it. And people don't break those patterns because they don't know what they don't know, or they're so comfortable in their routine that they never notice the things that actually build the leverage. Because I've seen it time and time again where people are doing the same things over and over again and never realizing the mistakes that they're made and making the same mistake over and over and over again. And the difference between those people and the ones that win is they need to get different inputs. They need to pay people. They need to get mentors. They need to get different inputs from people that have done the thing in order to realize that they're actually taking the wrong path. So when it comes down to people that win, they take potent action like invest in things, invest in mentors, make sure that they're putting time into the things that actually matter. Another thing is, and I think Naval said this as well, is if you've got two choices to make and they're pretty similar choices, right? Let's say, for example, you've got two choices to make. One is, let's say, I don't have a specific example right now, but if there's two choices that you have to make, and one of those choices has a little bit of short-term pain included in it, always take the path with the pain. Because pain is the one thing that you have to realize is the thing that your body is trying to, escape from as much as possible, right? Your brain craves comfort and it hates going through the pain. So the one thing that I've noticed in my journey, especially as being an entrepreneur, is the one simple thing that I was overlooking again and again and again was the one thing that had that short-term pain included. And this is a big trap that a lot of people fall into where they're thinking about all these things. Okay, I have to do the highest leverage tasks, right? I have to do all of these high leverage tasks and I don't do these low level things. For example, I only create content. I don't do the manual messaging. I don't do the manual outreach. I don't do those types of things because I'm above that. However, when it comes down to the short-term thing, right, what is the thing that has the most pain included? Probably the outreach, probably the boring stuff. And it's kind of like a double-edged sword where at the same time, I'm going to give you advice to do the high leverage tasks, but at the same time, there's certain short-term painful things that you have to go through in order to reach the status or even the level to be able to move on to those super high leverage tasks. So you need to understand what is the short-term things that is going to get to my goal, and then what is also long-term plays that I can make that compound over time that can allow me to finally escape those manual tasks. The biggest thing is you need to write down all the things that you need to avoid. I know you probably heard this a million times, but you see, School of Hard Knocks, right? It's this guy that interviews very rich people on the street. And every single time he asks them, what did you do in order to reach success? They always respond with, the question is not what I did, but what did I not do? And that's also a huge thing you need to understand is when it comes down to, getting into that next level, what are all the things that I need to write down that I should avoid? right? Avoiding stupidity is easier than seeking brilliance. Again, a quote by Naval Ravikant. So you need to understand of all the things that you need to avoid. What are all the things that is getting me away from my goal? Because just like you making progress in your life, there's certain things that can pull away from that progress and still make you at the same position. All right. I think like 5, 6, 7 years ago, I was watching a video by Casey Neistat, right? And it was, if you don't know him, he's like the OG vlogger. He's kind of what made vlogging and all that stuff super popular. And he made a video, how to get ahead in life. And he was at an airport and he was walking on one of those conveyor belts. You know, like when you walk in the airport, you can walk on those to get a bit faster through to your gate. And the title was How to Get Ahead in Life. And he was walking on this conveyor belt in the opposite direction. He was just walking, right? And he wasn't getting anywhere. He was just walking in the same position and he was just walking, right? He was making some progress in life, right? He was walking in a decent pace, but because of the downstream of the conveyor belt, he wasn't able to get ahead. And then he had a different section of the video where he stood still and he went backwards, right? So if you stay still and you don't put any effort in your life, if you don't put any effort towards your goals, you don't just stay at the same position, you decline, right? And then the third part of the video was, if you want to get ahead, you have to hustle. And then he runs, and then he makes a lot of progress. And this is what I'm trying to make you understand is potent action or quality action where you're putting in that grind set mentality, but in terms of a smart way. That is the thing that's going to get you to asymmetrically get paid off from that work. It's to build those things into your habits. It's to build those things so you can make sure that you get that potent action out of your life. Of course, consistency plays along with that as well, right? You could walk for a little bit and then you could run and then you could stop, right? And you'll still be at the same position. So, of course, consistency plays ahead. If you're walking just a little, if you're speed walking, you're still going to make progress if you do that over a long period of time. You could run, you could walk, you could stop, and you could be at the same position, right? So it's about that consistency. It's what can you hold on for a long time, right? Alex Hormozi had a quote saying, volume is not the enemy, inconsistency is, right? It's just being consistent and showing up daily with intensity and intention, okay? Sam Altman, the founder of OpenAI, said the best founders work on the same idea for 10 years. And that's the same thing I mentioned before with aim to play a long game with long-term people. It's that if you choose something, stick to it and improve and pivot and alternate and incorporate new ideas into that vision, okay? So, systems to support potent action. Create feedback loops, test, and make sure that you always iterate and never make the same mistake twice. I think the biggest thing that I've noticed, especially from last year, is you need to be a note taker. Every single thing that you do that you realize isn't working, grab a notebook, write it down. Because if something isn't tracked or measured, it's not incorporated into your business. So if you realize, okay, this video title did well, write them down. Put everything in Notion, whatever you do. Make sure that you have a system to make your action more and more potent over time. Time block only for execution and not ideation. This is something that I've implemented very recently where if I'm not taking brutal action in a time block, it's not a time block. It's not a work block for me. Like if I can put 4 hours a day where I'm brutally executing tasks, for example, for me, planning a YouTube video, that's not a work block. That's just planning, right? The actual work is recording the video and posting it and editing it. That is the work block, right? It's not planning or researching and all that stuff. That's all fluff, right? Because the biggest thing that I've noticed is just do it. Like just freaking do it. Like if you tell yourself just do it enough, I need to make sure the lighting is good, guys. If you tell yourself just do it enough, you're going to find a way to research, plan, and it's just going to happen. Okay? So time block for execution, not for ideation. Of course, on top of this comes the Pareto principle or the 80-20 rule. If you had 1 hour today, what would you do? Right? Not 12 hours, just 1 hour. What would you put put that 1 hour towards today in order to get to the next level. Okay, so like the one action that moves the needle. Another thing is, you need to understand that like your time, especially at a young age, is worth more than you can ever imagine. Man, I just forgot this guy that just released a book on Twitter. He just had an interview with Dan Coe. I might remember his name. Sahil Bloom, that's his name. He talks a lot about how you shouldn't just measure your life in terms of wealth. You should measure your life in terms of your health, your relationships, your spirit, a lot of different things, right? But one thing that he always drives home is Warren Buffett. I think he's got tons of billions in his bank. But I think he's in his 90s, right? I don't know exactly how old he is, but he's 93 or something like that. If I asked you right at this second, would you switch lives with Warren Buffett? You would say no, because he's 93 and he's on the brink of death, right? And despite all of the money in the world, you would not change lives with him. So that means in this second right now, your time is infinitely valuable. So don't waste it. You know, take every second of the day to realize, and of course, like, not only don't waste it, but, you know, appreciate every moment. Be present in every second of your life. And understand that, you know, the present moment is a gift, right? I don't want to make this like, what's the guy in Kung Fu Panda, the turtle? I don't want to be like all wise like him, but, you know, just take the moment to understand that your time is so valuable, especially at a young age, and whatever you decide to put your effort into should be something that means a lot to you, and it should be meaning more to you than just the outcome of wealth, right? It should be measured in your spiritual growth. It should be measured in your network growth, in your relationships growth. So think about that. Okay, so final thoughts, right? Align with your inner compass. A lot of the things that I teach within my program Creator One, I don't want to plug this, but I have to, is being an autonomy creator. That's the ultimate goal that I want my clients to reach. And what an autonomy creator is someone that has peace, profit, passion, and purpose in their life. Someone that isn't just financially, you know, successful, but also is successful in a lot of different areas. And here's another quote from Naval: "Become the best in the world at what you do. Keep refining what you do until this is true." So, of course, this is very success-oriented. But if you align yourself in terms of your purpose, passion, your peace, and everything with what you do, your work is not going to feel like work. It's going to feel like play. Another thing that Naval mentions. So I hope this video gave you guys a bit of inspiration. I might have been all over the place, but I would love some feedback, because I think it's very important not only for myself to reflect, but for entrepreneurs to really dive deep and explain their thoughts and explain things that they've noticed that has helped them along the journey with their success, to hopefully pass on to someone else that is just a few steps behind me. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I've got nothing to plug or anything on this. Just keep crushing it, and don't wait for autonomy. Build it. I'll see you in the next one.